We have weather.
We're rolling. So, Jim, could you tell me how did you actually get to healing and working with people and helping them with their energies, which is very fascinating for me.
Well, I guess I started out with energy as an electronics engineer. I was always fascinated by solving problems and making things work when I was a kid, because I was born on a farm and we didn't have a telephone or a man around the corner to go and fix things for us, so we ended up fixing things ourselves. In boarding school, I found an interest in electronics, which is completely alien to a farming background in Ireland, and I decided that it was a good thing for me to do. And somehow or other, I was extremely lucky, blessed, or guided, or whatever you want to call it, that I ended up finding the career I wanted. I ended up working in Dublin, then coming to Cambridge, and amazing place, all this technology. And sorry, can I just say, the wide-angle lens is offset on the lens of the camera. Is there any black fringes around there?
Nope.
Okay, well, can I just move it a section, because I can see from here it's not a line. That's a lot better, that little smidge, but maybe it was okay anyway. So I'll carry on. So I feel I was very blessed that I managed to find the career I really wanted to do from a very early age, and ended up in Cambridge, which was at the time, that's Cambridge UK, which at the time was a hub of technology, and Cambridge University was all exciting. And I met all these amazing people here from around the world. Now, that was fascinating because that was completely new to me. In Ireland we had, well, 99.9% Irish people, and foreigners as such were quite rare, and I found them fascinating. So somewhere along the way I was always interested in, let's call it personal development as a modern term, but psychic things, intuitive things, and way out of my depth, and I joined the Psychic Research Society and various things like that at that time. And in my early 20s I realized that I was a natural healer somehow. I had a girlfriend with a pain in her arm, and I knew I could just pull it down and at her fingertips. But electronics was far more interesting. And was it around the millennium, well, just before the millennium, I had a minor medical issue, just a bent finger. It turned out to be supposedly more than that. I didn't like what the proposal the consultant offered me, which is basically hack me to pieces. Went to a Mind, Body, Soul exhibition, one of the MBS shows. Met this lady from a foreign land who was doing interesting things, and explained the situation. And she ran her hand down my back, about this far away. And I had this amazing sensation. I thought, what was that? I had no idea. I'd never met this before. And it was chi, energy, being managed by somebody else. And that started me off on an incredible journey of initially healing, then meditation, and then working with ancestral healing. Now, many people in the West who may be watching this will say, what the heck is ancestral healing? Think, as we're in Cambridge, epigenetics. Things in the past that come down through our generations can affect us in many different ways, emotional, physical, and much, much more. Now, I did a lot of work with these people, and got to the end of the course, spent lots of money. It was an amazing journey, beyond description on a simple introductory video. But there was something missing. I then heard about an introductory weekend at the School of Energy Healing, went to that, and by the Saturday evening I knew that I had to do a 3-year course, 5 weeks a year residential. I just knew this, and there was no question, there was no doubt in my mind that I had to do it, which was a huge undertaking. I was self-employed at the time, not flowing in money in abundance, and very unsure of myself, and my wife saying, oh, why the heck do you want to do this? You've just done all this work, amongst other things. And I went there and I started working with energy, just learning the principles from, there's a book called Hands of Light by Barbara Ann Brennan, who coincidentally was an ex-NASA scientist. And one of my first homeworks, practice patient if you like, was a lady in her advanced years with double vision for over 12 years. And I'm halfway through the first session with her, and she's lying on the couch looking up at the ceiling with her corrective lenses removed, and she suddenly said, I can only see one light fitting. I was like, pardon? And she repeated, and I said, oh, okay, so you lost your double vision? And she said, yeah. I said, well, just keep it that way. I mean, what else was I going to say? And that was the beginning of an amazing journey for me. Over those 3 years, I learned an enormous amount of material, information, esoteric material, Oriental martial arts, not martial arts, but the principles behind, a lot of mind-body principles. And the more work I did, the more things happened, the more amazing things happened. And I now, 10 years later, so this is 2016, I work with, as you know personally, Lenka, I work with people in all kinds of issues. And in fact, I'm giving a speech tonight, later on at Toastmasters. The title is going to be Issues in the Tissues, is a phrase I picked up recently. And that's a beautiful simplification of how we actually are, that whatever stresses and strains we have and whatever mental conflicts we have, just internal conflicts in our beliefs, what we've been told and what we see about the world, ends up not only as a conflicting memory, but it's stored in our body somewhere. I'll just move out of the sun slightly, or the lens will melt perhaps. And this is the issues in the tissues. So for example, when we feel nervous in front of an audience, we usually feel it in our stomach or our heart or our throat. And that is all related to the stored memories in here from when we were laughed at, bullied, shouted at, told, you're no good, back as a kid. Yeah? So, and by simply working with those in a visualization kind of way, we can eliminate them in most cases. And what I do also is I bring an engineering approach to healing. And that is I use muscle testing, dowsing, kinesiology, they're all the same. We are a wonderful measuring device. Use those techniques to identify the source of the problem, whether it be pain, depression, recurring relationship issues or no relationship issues, or a problem with a property. To me, it's all energy. It can equally be a problem with an animal. I've been working with a horse recently with some amazing results. There is no difference, it's all energy. And it can all be measured, and we are the measuring device, and we can do that very effectively. And I love what I do, except this sun is getting really hot now, and I'm sure it's rather bright on the camera, so for now, au revoir.